National Hot Dog Day, National Sunglasses Day, National Witch Hazel Day. Why is that a thing? Where did this whole thing come from? Who picks these days? Explain it to me.
Take it easy. I've got all the answers. Welcome to By the Way Today Is. What you up to over there?
Be careful. I have to glue this small light bulb back together. Can't buy them anymore.
What are you going to use that small light bulb for?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to say.
Does it happen to have anything to do with an Easy Bake Oven?
Okay, yes, I kept my Easy Bake Oven from when I was a kid.
Interesting. Do you know what today is?
No.
It's November 4th, which is National Easy Bake Oven Day.
What are the odds?
Crazy.
Thank goodness I still have mine.
Well, my first question for you is going to be, have you ever used an Easy Bake Oven, or did you ever have one? But apparently you have one right here that I'm looking at, so kind of answers that question that I had for you.
I can't believe in all of our years of marriage, it's never come up.
Shocking. Did you ever use one as a kid?
No, I never did.
Did you have any friends that had one?
Not that I remember.
Did you ever want one?
No.
The idea of it never interested you?
No, because with my mom and me, we always bake. We would bake stuff a lot, so I didn't need it.
Ooh, we bake in full-size ovens.
Yes, but I had small little pans for myself. Does that count?
Almost.
Okay.
Yes, today is November 4th, Easy Bake Oven Day. Do you know how old of a product the Easy Bake Oven is?
Oh, man. Okay,
Give
let me guess.
year.
Let me guess. I think it is from 1947.
Way too old.
Darn it.
1963.
Oh, I almost went with the 60s.
1963. So it's almost, 40 years. Almost 40 years old.
1963? It's older than 40 years.
Oh, yeah, almost 60 years. My math skills are deteriorating.
I guess.
National Math Deterioration Day. I'm going to remember that one for that day. 1963. So our by the way fact is the cost of the Easy Bake Oven. How much do you think it cost back then? 1963.
$10.
$15.95.
Oh, that's expensive for back then.
In today's cost, that would have been $154.71.
Oh my word. How do these
inflation.
kids get these things? That's a lot of money, the spoiled little brats.
And this one's going to blow your mind. It was put out, like I said, in 1963. It was put out by Kenner. That was the company that manufactured it. How many do you think they sold in the first year at that cost?
Oh, word, that's so expensive. I'm going to say they still did decent and they sold 2,000.
500,000 in the first year.
Oh, what? What were people scrimping and saving for these things?
They were the hot item, and all the girls wanted them.
Oh.
500,000 of them at $15.95. So they say they were pretty popular.
2,000. Oh, what a terrible guess.
That was your worst guess so far. Gonna be tough to beat that one. So Kenner was the first company that manufactured it. Hasbro now still manufactures it, and they're still kind of popular, believe it or not, after almost 60 years.
Huh.
It was invented by a man named Norman Shapiro, and he was a salesman with Kenner. And he went to work one day, and he came up with this genius idea and went to his bosses to tell them about it. And it was an idea that was based on another already existing product. And he was riding to work one day, and he lived in New York City. He worked in New York City, and he would always take the subway. And they had pretzel machines in the subway where they would keep the pretzels warm with light bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came up with the idea of why not have a little oven with a light bulb that could actually bake food? The oven works so well on the pretzels and keeping them warm. Why couldn't someone make something that could cook food?
Well, because it doesn't cook it all the way. That's why.
That is definitely one of the downsides of it. But that's how he came up with the idea. He saw those on the subway and said, let's make an oven like that. And so they did. And there's been a lot of different varieties and versions of it put out. It was way back in the 60s. It was very much only a girl's toy. Obviously, back then they would make toys specifically for girls, specifically for boys. That was a girl's toy. But now they've actually, Hasbro puts out a version of it that's a lot more gender neutral to include boys to be able to use it as well.
Yeah, heaven forbid they know how to bake.
Exactly. The old ones used to be pink and frilly and girly, and now they're just very neutral looking for anyone to pick up and use. So they still do make them, just not specifically for girls anymore. It was first sold on November 4th, 1963. So that's why November 4th is National Easy Bake Oven Day, because that was the anniversary of the first time it was sold. And
that makes sense.
It's been celebrated since 2017.
No, not that long.
Nope, not that long ago at all. So again, we're in the infancy of the celebration.
Who was using an Easy Bake Oven and was like, oh my word, you guys, we need to have a day for this?
It's a great question. I don't know.
Darn it.
But it was just to commemorate one of the most popular, iconic toys of all time and when it came out. And it is very popular and iconic because it has, again, like we talk about sometimes, a lot of, not a lot, it has a few pop culture references on TV shows.
It does.
2 of them were in the same exact year, 1997. One of them on the TV show Friends and one of them on the TV show Seinfeld.
Friends often did copy from Seinfeld.
So the Friends episode, it was one where Monica claimed that she loved to play restaurant when she was a kid after her dad says that there were a few Easy Bake Ovens in their attic. And Ross accuses her of being an uncooked batter eater, like you were just talking about. And then she highlights one of the flaws of the toy. It's unreasonable to expect a kid to wait for a light bulb to cook brownies, which is what the Easy Bake Oven did. It used 2 incandescent light bulbs to cook the batter. So she was commenting on the fact that you're going to have a brownie, but it takes forever for a light bulb to make the brownies. So
I remember the episode. I watched Friends. You didn't.
You didn't.
No.
I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't.
So there's one of the pop culture references, and then there's one that both of us did watch, which was on Seinfeld. And Elaine also made some brownies for George in the episode where George is dating a vintage toy collector.
Yep.
And he finds an Easy Bake Oven. What was it, behind the Weeble Village?
Yeah.
And he points out that Jerry points out that it probably wasn't wise to eat the brownie because the batter was over 30 years old. So it was the original Easy Bake Oven with the original batter, and they opened it up and tried to make some brownies out of it, which probably wasn't too good. But it was
Probably
a very
not.
iconic toy, which is why they had those pop culture references on TV shows. So being the icon that it was, how are we going to celebrate Easy Bake Oven Day today?
Go and buy an Easy Bake Oven or just hold some brownie cookie dough up to a light.
So you could do any of those. If you're fortunate enough to have one still, make yourself some new batter first. And then put some brownies or a cake or whatever it is you want to make.
Wait, you're not suggesting they get some 30-year-old batter?
Well, it would be 60 years old by now. I know that math. So if you want to get some 60-year-old batter and cook it, I'm not telling you to do it, but you can't hold me accountable.
Delicious. It's not cooked all the way, guys. Come on.
And you actually could buy yourself a new Easy Bake Oven. They sell a lot of varieties on Amazon. So if you want to get one as a way of celebrating the day, go ahead and do it. Buy
How much do they cost now?
Your kids. Did not look it up.
What in the world? How would you tell me?
No, actually, I know they sell them, but I didn't look at the price, which is something I probably should have looked up.
Yes, you should have.
But they're not $15.95. But they also don't cost $154.
Yeah, so how did that work?
Inflation.
No, I'm saying, how did the cost of them go down? What, do they get more efficient at making them?
Get more efficient with making everything. So you could buy a couple of them on Amazon, or you could just, this is probably the easiest thing to do, bake like you did when you were a kid. Bake a regular size cake, pan of brownies, cut it up into really small pieces, and just hold it up under your light bulb and pretend that you cooked it, and say you cooked it in an Easy Bake Oven. So you can kind of have to pretend if you don't want to do any of those other things.
And joke is on you. They have one for $19.95 and you can save $1.
Perfect.
But then they have others that are $140. So I don't know.
So you can go for the cheap route. You can go for an expensive one. I don't know the difference between them, but definitely do something today to celebrate National Easy Bake Oven today and remember one of the most iconic toys of all time.
I'm just going to eat lots of brownie dough.
Perfect. Uncooked brownie dough.
Disgusting.
So come back tomorrow and we will have another day and you'll learn how to celebrate it. Talk to you then.
Remember to subscribe, rate, and review our show. You can download new episodes daily to hear what day we are all celebrating and how we can celebrate it. And be sure to share your favorite episode with your favorite person so you guys can celebrate together.